Well, everyone here, we have a special guest, Bess Barnes. Thank you so much for coming, joining us today.
Of
For
course,
the
thank you for having me.
No, first of all, I want to congratulate you for your new LP. It's an amazing LP. We are loving it. We are hearing it every day. It's wonderful. Congratulations a lot.
Thank you.
Have you been feeling with it? How has been the process with it?
Do you know what? The interesting thing for me is that I felt like a great sense of relief at releasing it. I was concerned that I would be sort of anxious about it or have quite intensive feelings about it or be concerned with the reaction to it, but I haven't been at all. It's just been about, making something that's mine from me and just like letting go of the balloon string, like letting it float into the world. And then, I think that people have kind of reacted to the fact that it was intended for them in that way, and so they've been really like positive and warm about it, which has been great.
Yeah, that's great. I have seen that all your fans have been so happy with everything you have with the album, the music videos. And we wanted to know, like, we know you are talented as an actor and talented as a singer, but we wanted to know what was the thing that took you to the path that told you, like, I need to make an EP, I need to make music. What was the thing that made you do
I
that?
think it was honestly the course of the pandemic, and just like when you take away the structure of the day and the things to look forward to and the people that you're meeting and seeing, and I think most people are left with this feeling of, if you take away all of that stuff, what's important to me? What do I want to be spending my time doing? And I was thinking a lot about being an old man and wondering what things I would regret not doing or what things I would be proud that I did. And I think releasing my own music into the world was just one of those things that I really I've always wanted to do. And it just gave me a little bit of a fireworks to just get on with it.
We have you hear you like singing and all this music that like before in your covers you have uploaded to Instagram, some soundtracks you have made. But how did you decide the jazz genre was the one for you? Like what did an inspiration came from you that I need to make my music like this, or it was just because you like that type of music?
I think it's just like it's sprinkled with inspirations of everything I've ever listened to. It's got a little bit of like the stuff my dad used to listen to, like the Beatles and Queen, and kind of the Eagles and all of those kind of like old school bands my dad used to listen to. And then it's got the Motown stuff that I love, like Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and all of that. And then it's got like a bit of the Rat Pack and the Nat King Cole and all that, like you say, a little bit of the jazz element in it. I think it's just everything that I love, all sprinkled in on top of the words that I've written and the tunes that I've written. And I think when you just like stir it in a big pot, like this is what came out. And I think I didn't want to plan it too much other than it being affected by the stuff that I love.
Yeah, like putting everything of your past with your right now you and mixing up. That's
Yeah,
great.
I mean, if you were to write a book, it would have every book you've ever written would be in the back of your head somewhere, but it wouldn't be part of your story.
Yeah, like an inspiration, a base
Yeah.
of it. And well, I know that you have been feeling a lot of things right now with the music, with the reaction, but we want to know, have you ever, like, you have felt something you didn't feel before, like in the movie part, like now in the music, any feeling, any reaction you saw that?
There's a few things I think, you know, I think just seeing the reactions to something that was purely mine. I mean, I've seen reactions to obviously characters I've played before, but like having somebody, send you a video of them dancing in their kitchen to a song that you've written is so rewarding, in a way that people telling you that they loved, a character that you've played that someone else wrote. Um, doesn't quite chime in the same way. So just knowing that you directly injected like joy into someone's day is
Mhm.
like a very real feeling. And then I remember a very specific feeling shooting the first video, where I sort of came up with the concept for that video, and then the producers that I had helped me put those together, and the director and the crew and everything, and everyone was working towards telling this story that I wanted to tell, which I hadn't really experienced before. And I had these images in my head of very specific shots of a girl sitting on her own, a woman sitting on her own in an audience, looking proud. And when we shot that shot of Evan Rachel Wood looking proud in the theater, I was like, it was quite overwhelming. So I was like, this is just out of my head. So that was kind of like a new feeling for me.
Yeah, I love the music video for 11/11. I was feel like it was a soundtrack for a movie, for like a live movie, and I was feeling like inside the video, I was like, yeah, I related. I don't know why, but I related with it, and the video.
That's great. That's great. It's sometimes we don't need to know why we relate to something. We just know that we do.
Yeah, and talking about your single 11/11, it has been doing great. I have seen like on my Twitter is about 11/11. A lot of people is talking about that, and we want to, as I told you, is that music video showed me like a movie, is in a movie like influence, and I want to know how does your like acting career inspire have helped you influence your music career?
Well, I didn't want it to sort of come too much out of left field and be too surprising for people that this is what I was doing. I wanted to show that it was connected to storytelling, which is kind of what I do. And I think making the music videos quite cinematic and quite storytelling and have characters rather than sort of abstract performances. So it was important to me to tell stories in the music video so that you can kind of connect from what I've done. And then obviously using actors like Evan and Floriana Lima, who's in The Punisher with me, using people that I kind of you connected with my career so far, kind of made it a bit more transitional and rather than just kind of, oh, he's doing something, he's making some, he thinks he's in a band now,
Yeah, and talking about like relating your songs and everything with stories, you have the pirate song, and we want to know where the inspiration for the pirate song came. Why did you chose to compare like a love story with a pirate story?
I think I was just looking for a metaphor that was going to work for that particular song that I was writing, and that I was kind of bored with the song that I'd written, but I knew I wanted to express this thing about those people in your life that are just kind of enigmas, and you can't quite catch them. And then I was just sort of reading. Obviously, I do a lot of fantasy, and a lot of those kind of stories appeal to me. And I was just kind of imagining, that a story of like, a pirate with a woman in every port. And I was like, well, it could be a woman with a civilian man, and because sometimes, even if you're the star of the TV show, you don't feel like the star of your own life. Sometimes you feel like one of the extras, again, that was something very pandemic feeling, I think. And so I started like looking up real female pirates, and came across this character back from the dead Red, who like faked her own deaths and just sounded like a badass. So I just made up a song about, I made her the character.
I love pirate song. I love the reference. I was like, when I started reading like the lyrics, because I prefer first reading the lyrics and then hearing the song, I was like, that's funny. That's a funny reference, but it's a good one.
But the references are not just musical influences of mine. There's references to Shakespeare in there. There's references to E. Cummings poems. There's references to films like Notting Hill that I love. There's references to Peter Pan. There's references to all sorts of musical people, Donny Hathaway, people that I love. There's a little trumpet fanfare borrowed from a Penny Lane, Beatles song. I mean, it's all sorts of things in there that are just like, because we're all just collections of memories and influences from our lives so far. So I think that's what that musical kind of textural blanket becomes.
Yeah, I get it. Like everything came together and create a big idea that helped you to create this song, and it's amazing. I really love it. Oh well, your album, your EP is titled "Songs for You." We wanted to know if someone was like making a playlist of songs for you, which songs would need to be for like, I forgot the word. Like need to be in the playlist. Yeah.
Well, I actually made a playlist of my sort of influences for this album, which is on Spotify. If you go and listen to it, it's got like a lot of the songs that I sort of thought about while I was writing this. But I think if someone was going to be a playlist of my life, it would have to have some Nat King Cole and some Ray Charles and Donny Hathaway and some Queen and some Beatles, and what else would it have to have? Probably more modern, some Foy Vance and some I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to make a playlist today for a specific project, which I'm talking about on Friday. But one of my songs is going to be 1111 is going to be on the Now 80 album. I don't know if you had the Now That's What I Call Music albums in Mexico, but they were obviously big here and in Europe when I was growing up. So I was trying to put together a list of some songs from those albums and songs I grew up with. So some of that will be on there.
And well, and you don't have a song like you hear it and you were like, this song was written for me. I don't know why, but this song like it's
Yeah, there's lots of those, but over the years, like, uh, yeah, when I was, yeah, definitely like so many of the, Find Me Somebody to Love, the Queen song, or, you know, there's all sort, yeah, so many, there's so many songs like over the years, which kind of, I feel like have represented, but they're all in different times, I think there's lots of songs that are a bit more celebratory that I would probably connect with different moments in my life, looking at songs from the 90s and pop bands and stuff, or it doesn't matter whether it's Destiny's Child or NSYNC or Macy Gray or whatever. Like, you think of these songs that kind of meant something to you. Like I was listening to that Baz Luhrmann Sunscreen song the other day, and I was like, this is written for me. And then you realize it's written for everybody. But that's kind of why I call my thing Songs for You, because it's like when you really connect to a song, you feel like it was for you.
yeah, exactly. When you hear a song like everyone say, no, I feel relatable too, and you're like, no, this is my song. Please let me have
yeah. Let me have a piece of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, talking about like the connection with songs, is there any song in the album that you feel more connected with, or you have like a more special path of creating it?
I would say Rise Up is still the song that, like, it's the first one I finished. It feels the most personal to me somehow. It feels like the most sacred one. Still, it's the one that kind of affects me the most. I love the strings on it, which obviously had nothing to do with brilliant work by someone else, but this guy, Oliver Krauss, who wrote the string arrangement. But there's something about that song which feels really different from other songs, and it's sort of just like personal. So I think that one, on Ordinary Day, like those two are obviously the most like schmaltzy, schmoopy songs on there that are like the most sentimental and sort of pining, Adele style, songs. But I think those are the ones that feel the most raw. But then 1111 and Not the End and the Pirate Song I can listen to in the car and kind of like nod my head and go, I'm really proud of these. And they're still honest, so it feels good.
And talking about Rise Up, we like analyze a little bit the lyrics because, well, the song is so great and we were in love with it. And we like find the phrase "sweet dreams of a golden day." Like, can you explain us how your sweet dreams of a golden day are?
Yeah, sweet dream of another golden day. I think it was just, I think it was about, this sort of juxtaposition of like the moon and sun and wishing someone a good night, knowing you will sleep better if you know that tomorrow the sun will rise again, and that there will be all sorts of colors in that sunrise that you hadn't thought of. It might be reds and golds and purples and in some days it will be sort of gray and white and that sounds weird. And some days it will feel different, but like all those different kind of colors of sunrises and sunsets inform the different, like, you read them in different ways depending on how your day has gone and been. And but I think it was just the idea of, it's not wishing someone it's not like saying sleep well for the sake of the sleep. It's encouraging that someone will sleep well in safe in the knowledge that tomorrow is a new day, basically.
Well, it is pretty sweet how you explain it. I was like thinking about, I don't know, a living dream, like you create your dream and start like walking on it and creating it. Well, I see that they are like,
see, but that in mine was a little more literal. Yours is more beautiful and abstract. Yeah, like actually dreaming about waking up. I used to have that dream when I was at school about waking up and starting the day and brushing your teeth and going to school, and then you'd wake up and you haven't done any of those things. I used to hate that.
I hate that too because like I already done it, but you are
I've
not
already
sure.
done it. Yeah, you just didn't notice.
And it happened a lot to me that I ate and I was like, I already ate. Why am I eating again? And it's
Yeah.
horrible because I feel like I'm eating twice, but no. And well, and about ordinary day, you take us like on a journey, like telling us we need to understand love is not always what we think about what love is. We understand that sound like that. Is there any advice you will give someone about love?
Don't know if I'm the best placed person to give any advice about that, but I think it would be the similar advice to when people ask me about, being an actor or being a creative person. It's about doing things that feel authentically you and not pretending to be other people with it. And it took me a very long time to not try and change myself to be, because I think as an actor, you're always trying to change yourself a little bit to fit these parts and to please people. And I think that that's dangerous to take into your like real life. It's better to be the most you that you can be all the time, and that's the way that you attract people who love you for who you are.
Yeah, well, that's a great advice, really. I know you think you're not the person, but well, it's a great advice. So thank you a lot for the advice. Well, talking about like the reaction of your fans, how have you been feeling about like the connection with them? Have you felt like this have make you closer with your fan base, or
Yeah, I think so. I was just used to people talking to me about their favorite roles or whatever that I've done or whatever. But when they tell them that a song that I've written has like meaning for them, or a particular, I love it when people say this particular phrase or lyric chimed with me for something to do with my life. I think that makes it feel more personal, because it's more personal and intimate from me, these songs, than anything that I've done in terms of like playing characters in something. So when the reactions are personal like that, it feels like you're connected. I think that's why you call it sharing music. I feel like we're sharing it. If they tell me about something specific, I feel like we're sharing something rather than like me performing and them reacting.
yeah, that's something like it's very special because well, I'm a fan. I have like a lot of songs. I have felt like the connection, and makes me feel like I know the person that is singing, and I know the person who wrote the song, and
And
even
when you
though
tell when you told me that when you came on, I was like, well, a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of 1111 is yours now.
yeah, it's some like you feel part of like a part of his life or her life or their life, and without knowing them, and that's something very special that
Yeah,
well, all
yeah.
our fans love, and thank you a lot for making those
Thanks for
songs that
saying that.
connect.
That's very, very, very
No, it's the truth. It's the only truth. We feel connected a lot. Well, talking about like songs for you, do you want to share any funny anecdote or any memory that you have about the process of making it that you keep it special with you?
Well, it wasn't sort of as organic as I was hoping. I would love to have got a collection of musicians in a room together and sort of make something together based on, the sort of song structure that I brought in, but it obviously had to be done all remotely during the pandemic and everything. So it was a little bit more clinical than I wanted, but I did, I love the editing process with my producers, John and Jesse, and I think the most special moment for me, it's not funny, but it's, when I did manage to get to the studio where Oliver Krause did the string arrangements and he played me the strings for Rise Up and Ordinary Day. And I just was like, are you sure this is my song? Just because he was like, yeah, this is, I made this like instantly listening to it because this is what it has to have on it. And it was just like, it's very overwhelming, like special to when someone contributes what their special skill and talent and genius is to something that you've made. It's like, yeah, so that was a great moment.
And the song you are talking about, they were like all made during lockdown, or you have like some songs you wrote like 3 years ago, 2 years
There were
ago.
bits and pieces that were little phrases and stuff that were older and all of that, but they all got finished during lockdown, quite near the beginning, just because I had the space and the time to like really like put them together and make them fit. But yeah, I mean, it's again, all the references and things I'd written down were just stitched through the last however many years, but they all got completed together, which is why they were the ones who kind of made it onto the album.
Any, well, have you talked about making a complete album or any future music project you want to talk about? You can talk about.
No. I just don't have any plans yet. I'm definitely gonna keep doing music and keep seeing what comes up, whether that's a musical film or an album or a covers album or live performances or who knows. But there'll be something.
A tour around Mexico, a tour around the
Yeah,
United
just
States.
Mexico, just
Just
at your
Mexico.
house. Yeah.
Thank you. I would love that. Well, another song is Not the End. You talk about like the upsides and downsides of a normal life. What would you say that is something that helped you have a great day when you started with the wrong food? What is the motivation you gave to yourself when you know that it's going to be a bad day?
I think just trying encouraging myself to like drone out, to pull away and try and find some perspective. You know, I know there's a lot of different ways that people do that. Some people imagine how precious and short life is. Some people, you know, try and imagine 8 billion people on the planet and you're just one little one, and that makes you feel like an ant, and that gives you power that your choices are not as important as you think, or whatever it is that makes you feel, that gives you that perspective that, you know, this is the only day that you get today. And some days I'm not good at it. Some days I get really stuck in the weeds of my own thoughts and my own, what I perceive to be my own problems and things that I want that I don't have and haven't been able to find. And some days I'm able to come back and think about all the wonderful things in my life and everything that is perfect and makes me happy. So and I know we're all like that. I know you're like that. You know, it depends on the day, and I think we all find our little ways to cope with that, whether that's mindfulness meditation, or whether it's like talking something out with friends, or whether it's listening to a song that you feel understands you, like something, you know, just got to keep going through the things, you know, until you find something that hits.
Yeah, exactly. Like finding something that lets you forget a little bit of time, even 1 minute, even 2 minutes about the problem you are having. And yeah, that's a great advice.
I definitely tell myself, I remind myself every day, like if I'm thinking about something, if it's not useful as a thought and it's not joyful as a thought, then it's not worth having. Like if it's not going to help me and it's not making me happy, I don't need to think about it.
That's so philosophical. I I needed to hear that because well, sometimes I don't need to think about it, but I'm thinking about it and it's something I can control. But thank you for the advice. Well, to close up, we have two questions. The first one is, if you could give your album, like a song from the album to Chris Caspian, Dorian Gray, General Kieran, Benjamin Green, and Jeff from Lockdown, which one will you give to each one?
Oh, okay. I'm not even going to think about too hard why. Which characters do I get?
Prince Caspian. Let's go one by
Let's do
one.
one at a time. Prince Caspian gets 11:11 because it's like mainly hopeful, but he doesn't quite end up with the people he wants.
Dorian Gray.
Gets Ordinary Day because he never gets one.
Benjamin Green.
Pirate Song because he's a fantasist.
General Kirikan.
Gets Not the End because he's constantly trying to push his agenda of, it will be okay if we try this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah, he's very strict with his times. Yeah, and Josh from Luckin.
Well, then I guess he gets Rise Up, but that's because he wants to get his daughter and eventually him to rise up. So that's perfect.
Yeah, and well, for the last question, we wanted to know how have you feeling like to know that we are allowing your album, to know that your album has been doing great, and what will you tell yourself to continue doing this part of music?
I think it's not the macrocosm of like how many people have listened to it or whatever. It's this individuals. It's you saying that, you know, that song resonated with you and you're not quite sure why. It's the TikTok of the girl dancing in her kitchen with big smile on her face. It's the person kind of saying like, oh, this line in Rise Up made me feel like totally or whatever, or Not the End. Literally, I wasn't going to go to work today, but I went because I listened to Not the End this morning. It made me realize it's okay. Like, or even not a specific song, even, you know, you doing this at 40 years old is you know, makes me feel like I can do anything and I don't have to rush it. And anything positive that comes out of it, anything positive and joyful that comes out of me doing this makes it worth it. It's the little things.
Yeah, the little things make everything different, and that's something we all need to appreciate a lot. And well, lastly, do you want to say anything to your fans that who watch the interview?
That makes me think. That's why I wrote a song. It's the little things makes me think like I should write a song called "It's the Little Things." So I'm going to write that down. The little things. I don't know why or how, but like I write that down like in my notes, and we'll see.
Yeah, well, something you want to tell your fans that will watch this interview in the future?
I mean, hopefully they'll just get something out of it. Who knows?
Okay, well, thank you a lot, Ben, for
So much.